What's going on, guys? So today in this video, basically I'm just going over my setup of a male and female pair of gargoyle geckos. I'm going over what two I actually have together in there right now. I will go over the size of the enclosure and then also what I put in it as well. So I'll jump right into the two that are breeding together right here. Right here, this is the female that I have in that enclosure. I did the video of my overview of my breeders for this year and she was in there. But basically she is from Rack House, from his group 3 group, which is mostly just bred for super stripes. So that's why I really like her. Her siblings and her genetics are really strong. She has nice lateral color. She has nice back stripes that are full. And it somewhat touches a little bit down the middle. You can see right there and there. And it gets close and it's closing over the line because I'll show you why I chose her. But she's really sweet. I love her. And she is in this enclosure with this male right here. Here is the male in the enclosure. This is Magma, which I know some people are already familiar with. He is from Tiki's, and I did the overview video on my breeding males for this year. So he has pretty much a solid back and some nice lateral color, and it's really saturated as well. And I have him, oh, there she goes, squeezing in between those. So I have him with her because I believe with a little bit of color that she has that is crossing over, he could help increase that. And also the lateral stripes as well will help them in the offspring to increase the lateral color on there. And I just really love their color of red, that shade that they have. It's both of them have a darker shaded red, and I think both of them together are going to be really phenomenal. And she actually had laid her first clutch of eggs with Magma not too long ago. So hopefully within pretty much the next 3 months, you'll be able to see some babies from them. And also, you know, over the next 6 months, 9 months, however many eggs that she is able to lay. So these are the two that I have together. So I will show you the setup that I have them with right here. So guys, here's the enclosure. It is a Sterilite bin, 54 quarts. There's the dimensions. Eventually one day I'm hoping to upgrade to all PVC enclosures as well. But this works great for a breeding pair. I just have holes along the sides on both sides and a vent right there, and then holes on the back side. So basically the setup right here is not anything difficult to replicate. Cork bark, I get it from Pangea because you can buy, you know, $50 worth is about 5 pounds. So it works if you have a smaller collection and you need to fill a few enclosures with cork bark. What I'm using down here is cypress mulch. Reason being is I'm starting to switch that from all my enclosures because as long as you keep it moist, I think that seems to be the most difficult part, is keeping that moist. As long as you keep it moist, it will hold the humidity perfectly well, and also it can be a habitat for, you know, isopods, springtails, stuff like that, so you're still able to have the cleanup crew with that. And it also helps with, if you're using paper towels, sometimes if you have stuff standing up, slide around, this helps hold it in place. If you just have a, you know, it's probably about like a ½ inch layer of the cypress mulch right there. And then the other really great thing about it versus using the dirt is they aren't going to get impacted. Chances are the guard, I mean, they might, but chances are it's very, very slim because they aren't gonna, you know, go and easily be able to swallow something like this. So the main setup is real simple. There's 2 corners. Idea is they'll each have their own corner if they need to get away from each other, and enough space to do that as well. Now, I love using cork rounds just because they're able to climb down in there just like if it was, you know, a tree in the wild. They have full 360, no visuals, you know, so they can hide in there from me or from the other guard. And it helps, cork bark is perfect because when you have something like this, they aren't very good at climbing flat, smooth surfaces. They use their claws a lot, so cork bark is awesome for that. This is just like a little ramp up here, but it helps brace it in the corner, and then same here, it helps brace it so it doesn't fall over. I put plants in there as well to help remove any visual barriers, so that way if they aren't getting along or one is bullying the other, there's more chance of them being able to get away from each other. But the good way to tell is if you see them sleeping together throughout the daytime, chances are they're probably getting along. And if you obviously don't see like any bite marks on their tail or any serious injuries, you're good to go. But always be safe, you know, giving them enough room, making it as natural as possible so they feel at home. And then obviously having the lay box in there. This right here, this is just sphagnum moss and the coconut fiber dirt, whatever it's called again. But basically, keep this moist pretty much 24/7, not soaking wet or anything, but moist. Reason being is because that way when she goes to lay her eggs, sometimes they do a really good job of covering it up and you have no clue. So as long as the soil is moist enough, if you do miss their eggs for a few days, you know, they aren't going to dry out. I've had that happen where it wasn't moist enough. You go and check it and you have a probably was a fertile egg that's no longer good. So it's important to do that as well. But it's real simple. Basically, whenever you put them together, just make sure you're providing them with enough room, you know, enough hiding spots. I just do one for each. Obviously, you can make it more complicated in here, and then I put plants in there to help with the visual barriers and make it feel more natural to them. So, and then obviously the lay box as well. Substrate, that's up to you. This is just my preference right now. So it's real simple. You don't have to overcomplicate it. Basically, I did the video on, you know, how I've been breeding them this year, which may change in the future once I have more males. Well, basically, oh, the computer's talking to me. Well, basically, when you put it together like this, they will do completely fine with each other. Just monitor them, making sure they're getting along. And eventually, if you give them some time, you'll find some eggs in here. This setup is what I use for all of them, and it always has given me success. So this is just what works for me right here. And if you were wondering what was talking in the background, like I said, it was my computer, because he decided to press some buttons on it. And the other girl is just hanging out in there. That is one of the cool things about Gargs, is once you get them used to you, you really never have to worry about them, you know, going off and trying to run away. It's easy enough to just grab them. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope that helps. You know, depending on figuring out what you're gonna set up, how many you're gonna put together. Remember, that's just for 2 of them. I don't like putting them in large groups because your chances of having issues increase because there's more Gargs in there. So that's just for a 1-to-1 group. But as long as you provide them with enough hiding spots, their own, you know, areas of the enclosure and a lay box, and you make sure you're watching them, you won't have any issues having success, as long as you follow like the other care tips of weight and all that type of stuff. But that's just the setup that works for me. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope this helps. Guys, one last thing, make sure to follow me on the social media. Reason being, so I recently commissioned this artwork done of blood splatter where she is surrounded by actual, you know, splatter. So it ties in with her name. And I made these stickers of her, and every once in a while when I do this type of stuff, I always send out a few for free to anyone that ends up seeing my story and message me about them. So just give me a follow on Instagram at RedRack. That's where I post everything. Sometimes I'll be sending these out. So if you ever want one, just stay, you know, posted on my story. Anytime I make new stickers or new designs, I always send a couple out. Thanks.